There it is.
Did you buy that Fanta in the coffee shop?
No,
Oh,
that's
okay.
Fred Meyer.
Is that your daughter?
Yes.
I didn't know you had a kiddo.
That one.
That one.
That one in particular. She's got those headphones for her birthday.
How old is she?
Like, wow. It's like skull candy.
Yeah. Oh, she wishes. Oh, sorry, Billy. I was gonna holler at you to close the doors, and I was like, nah.
Yeah.
Well, let's rock some points. And we'll get this party started.
And nobody else is allowed to come to church on Friday. That's it.
Well. Taking a hard look around the place, it looks like 7-3. Oh, okay. So this will be the last one. Is that the understanding?
Way to go, Cammy. You got your points in. Sweet.
If it weren't for a minute,
It's,
if it weren't for the fact that her
She's-
cubicle
she
was
couldn't
right
get
there.
I think I'm going to sneak onto Amanda's computer on the 3rd of July and put my points in.
No,
Because
no
this is-
padding your point.
This isn't padding my points.
It's actually very close.
I thought you got your points in today.
Hmm?
Did you get your points in today?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I did.
Are we all setting points on the 3rd too? Is that how this is gonna work?
You
guys wanna play it up to the last
second?
Team 3, 3rd place, 385. Team 1, 2nd place, 400. Team 2 at 420. That's Captain Amanda.
So this is the last one, is that right?
Yeah, that's the last one.
This is it.
Yeah.
Oh, Kathy, you're here.
Myself, Billy, Terry, and Robin will be serving you the finest in, I assume, root beer floats or mimosas or some nonsense like that.
Yeah.
Well, we'll decide.
We have an
at a
under
time.
21
You can't
Right.
just say mimosas and then not deliver.
We have the cooked
I'm gonna go home
champagne
and
right upstairs.
So much
We are. I'm
We just
I'm
went
a,
over points.
I'm a very jovial loser.
So who's on your losing team?
It's myself, Billy, Robin, and Terry Ellis.
All right. Who can we blame for losing?
Well, I'm the captain, so as captain, I say it's Billy's fault.
Oh. But Billy has more points than you.
Oh. Well, we're gonna go with numbers. So
So,
yes, I'll go down with the
The
ship.
numbers are my hips, they don't lie.
Agreed.
What did you say?
Numbers and my hips, they don't lie.
It's a Shakira song.
oh, that's a Shakira song?
Yeah.
Great stuff. I'm glad we're talking about millennials and those kind of things, because clearly that went over my
Right.
Oh, my goodness.
No, I'm sorry. Okay, so
I'm right
today's question is, yes or no? Do you think in our business it's important to understand the age group of the people you're dealing with, starting with Billy?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Double yes. Yes.
Okay.
I'm going to throw a caveat on mine.
Yeah.
I say not necessarily, as long as you don't. It's better to admit, hey, I don't know how to work with you. Maybe not in those words, but how would you like me to communicate? How would you like me to do this? That's better than pretending to understand. That would be better than me pretending to understand a baby boomer. Wait, I just don't.
You know, speaking of that, if you don't understand a baby, you understand me perfectly.
Baby boomers that don't email and think that the internet's
yeah.
the devil. And
Yeah.
I'm almost there with you. I think there's a lot wrong with it, but
I need you to docu-sign.
I need you to document.
Well, the teams have just ended, so
We need
if
to
we were
read
gonna,
teams. Well, that is, are you guys all gonna shoot me points the last second on the third? Or
I know,
call
are
this
we?
a day?
whether I do or not is not anyone's
Right.
concern.
Should have one more closing.
Okay, so that's 5 for our team.
In the name of
Protein.
sanity, let's call this the end.
Yeah. Are we all in agreement?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Thanks,
Start
Carl.
fresh.
So the losing team, Carl's team, gets to, now we're not gonna have trenches next week, but the week after, we will have a little party. And we'll draw for new teams. Cool. Okay. So I would like Rob, since I'm beyond the age group and most of these things I'm going to talk about today, I have Robin, as you may already know, and Carl, who are going to do our presentation today. But before we get there, and we will talk about why we landed on this subject, but before we get there, are there any success stories?
Transaction didn't fall apart at the last second. I feel pretty good about that.
Yeah. The problem was what? It's a great story.
The problem was the appraisal unfortunately came in 20,000 plus.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh. But we represent the buyers, so it's like, for the sellers, it's cool. And ultimately, we renegotiated and all is well in the world. But it was a hairy week of wondering whether or not they really still wanted to sell to us or not.
What was the ending? How did it end?
I'll tell you later.
Okay.
$20,000 lower.
Welcome. Hi, come, please have a seat. Okay, so that's a success story. I have one. My team and I managed to get a two-sided transaction to the table. We went into contract a year ago. It was an owner finance transaction. And it was very convoluted because we were working with a seller whose professions have been realtor, broker, airline pilot, possibly an astronaut.
Right.
Same person?
Same person.
Yeah.
He's done everything. So he, of course, knew more than anybody, more than title, more than we did. So anyway, we went into contract a year ago on MLS. It's been pending for a year. And so they did an early occupancy, ran their bed and breakfast business out of this home. We finally signed yesterday on the finance docs and recorded today.
Wow.
Both sides.
That is a huge success
It was
story.
great, and Michelle Lozano was our closer at Stewart Title. Anyway,
Enemy camp.
in the camp. Just so you know, the seller picked that title company. The seller insisted on that title company 1 year ago. And I think it was so complicated that the first closer took it and gave it to poor Michelle Lozano, who I think is not as experienced as the lady that we were working with. It all worked out. It was very interesting. Any other success stories, anybody?
I sold my listing.
And you didn't have it on the market very long either.
No, and I have concerns because I'm new and I feel like I know nothing, and it was multiple offer, which I haven't dealt with one offer on a listing. And to have this multiple offer situation and backup offer, and I think, oh, price? Ooh. But yes.
Did Mary give you some guidance on how to handle that?
Mary was more, I had guidance on this one, I'd say more from Teresa.
Oh, yeah, she would definitely know what to do.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
How many offers did you get?
6.
So I am assuming your seller thought, anybody?
6 offers.
That it was price low.
Yeah.
Yep, I heard in the
What price?
background on the phone, did we price it too low?
What was the price?
309.
So did the multiple offers drive it up though from? 300?
Yes, it sold above.
Oh, good. Okay.
And the backup offer just kind of snuck in here. And again, I'm getting advice from because I don't know how to handle, can I take a backup? It is 10,000 above.
Wow.
That's kind of in the back pocket. But then I think, what about appraisal?
Single family or condo?
It's it's a adorable little chalet home, 1247 square feet, A-frame.
So where did the listing come from, Karen?
It came from the folks that I met at an open house. I helped them put in an offer on that house, and then they needed to list this house in Anchorage.
Wow.
So, do you have the appraisal in yet?
No.
Well, you have a comps will come in.
There was one on the street, a home for sale on the street that was at $349. but different animal, and 2-car garage, not a single, and different factors, so.
So does anybody think open houses don't work? They work, especially if you work them right. Right, especially if you work them right. What has to happen at every open house, anybody?
Follow up, have to ask them if they're going to buy the house.
Ask them if they want to buy the house.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter if they like it or they don't like it. Before they leave, hopefully you've had a little conversation with them. Ask them if they like to put an offer on the house. If you don't ask, they'll never know and they're gone. And you just probably kiss $7,000 goodbye. Okay, enough lecturing. All right, so Robin and Carl are going to do the presentation because we've had experiences in the field where we felt that maybe we weren't dealing properly with people. So you want to give us some experiences and Sean?
A lot of times what we notice is, of course, and everyone in the business notices, that our buyers are a little addicted to Zillow. It's like visual crack for them. They love Zillow, but we all know Zillow isn't accurate. It's not tied to the MLS. It gets better all the time, but when we were doing our last week's Tuesday morning meeting, Gina was saying Zillow says they're going after the gamer generation. Those are the millennials. They like that slick software. And so when I started researching it, we found out some interesting facts about the generation, the millennial generation, or Generation Y. And so I'm just going to read some from this first page. They were born between 1981 and 2000. They're also known as the 9/11 generation. The Echo Boomers. Let's see.
May I ask for what
Yeah.
do you mean when they say where the 9/11
The 9/11 happened
during our
during your generation, and that's a huge deal. I mean, that's as big as Pearl Harbor. You know. They are nurtured by omnipresent parents, optimistic and focused. So they were very hands-on parents in that generation. And again, parents having all the information that they have, having decades of data to work from. Let's see. I thought this one was interesting. They had falling crime rates, falling teen pregnancy rates, but with school safety problems, they have to live with the thought that they could be shot at school. So when I read this, I'm not seeing spoiled brats. That's what I think when people talk about millennials, that's the surface of it, is that they're spoiled. But really, they have a lot that they have to deal with in their young lives.
But that's encouraging, the falling crime rates and falling
Yes.
teen pregnancies.
Yes.
Rhonda, do you think that's because they are more informed?
Yes.
Are they potentially more serious as they become more adult because of, say, 9/11? They know that we live in a dangerous world.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm not going to read.
Kathy, remember when we were in school that we got under
Air
our
raids.
desks every Wednesday
Air
at
raids.
noon
Cold War.
for air raid?
Yeah.
I
Cold
didn't
War.
know.
Go up with that.
Mhm.
That's why in the '64 earthquake, the only thing I knew to do is get under my desk, which I did. Actually, but aftershocks, I got under my desk at the university.
So
I knew.
without going through all of these, I'm going to read this one. Envision the world as a 24/7 place. They want fast and immediate processing.
So I think the story there is if you get a lead, if you go to an open house, you do an open house, and somebody comes in the door and they seem like a serious buyer, the point of that story is if they're going to do business with you, you need to be in touch with them that day or at the latest the next day. If they want more information about the home, you have to do it right away.
You need to be as accessible as their apps.
Good point.
Yes.
Yeah, if you wait 3 days, they've already moved on to another realtor.
Mhm.
Well, and with the information, it says, unlimited access information, we would have to go look at an encyclopedia for an answer.
Right,
So if you
Or a
didn't have one handy to that,
or a library.
you know, we wouldn't do
Walk
it.
down to the library.
I remember our client on Delta Drive. He was so tech savvy. Remember that? He had his MLS app and he would star the listings he wanted to see and he'd send us a text saying, okay, I found them. And then we'd go into MLS and they'd be right there.
Oh, wow.
So let's see, I pulled these off the internet, but I had two of the millennials in our office choose this one. So to be the most relevant. So, and this is 8 essential tips for selling real estate to millennials. So it says number 1, master social media. And if there are people in our office who don't use social media, who barely want to use a computer, and they are missing out.
We still have realtors that sit down at the typewriter and
Yeah.
put their contracts into the typewriter and they type into the blanks.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a program that you can do that on the computer
Yeah.
now. I'm just gonna throw that out.
So, yeah.
Where are you
Do we want to talk about social media?
Absolutely.
Kathy, it's interesting because we just changed Kathy's website. And it was the same website since I got here. And it had a moose on it. And Joy, who worked in the office, used to say, it looks like a tourist website. And when Connor was with us, he would do Google Analytics, and people searching for baby moose would find their way to Kathy's website.
They never bought a house.
They never bought a house.
They Googled your moose
Yeah, and we were getting hits from Asia and all over the world on my website thinking, yeah, because of the moose.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So anyway, I just thought I'd throw social media out there. Does anybody have a comment about social media? Carl set up our website.
I did, and I set up our website. I was pretty serious about getting us onto Facebook, into doing a fair amount of marketing and name recognition and top of mind work out there, because you can hit thousands of people a week for not that much money.
Or no money if you do it right.
Or no money if you do it right. What we do is we will promote an ad for Property of the Week or for open houses, but then encourage our team to share it on their own pages. And then those are called organic shares, and the organic shares are free, and they can quickly add up because your friends are seeing it and they remember, oh yeah, I work in real estate. And just more and more, the more they see the Kathy Fernandez team, when they go like, man, I think about getting a house, hopefully we're top of mind, we're good to go, that investment will have paid off.
I've got a lot to say about social media. The movers and the shakers say that this is now the television and the TV is the radio. And there are people who devote all of their time to studying the 50s and 60s when television made their boom, and the radio folks resisted it. And they're saying marketing is on its way out in television, and it needs to be focused online and Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. The shift is coming, and within a generation, the people's nostalgia for the way things used to be, print advertising, radio ads, that kind of stuff, it'll be relegated to that generation only. Everybody else.
I'll be honest, I don't even listen to the radio
I was
anymore.
gonna say, my friend turned my radio on in my car for the first time about a week ago.
Yeah, the only
Didn't
time
even know
I
I
listen to
had
the
one.
radio is when my iPod dies. Or my iPod's always plugged into my car, so it doesn't die that often.
I like
So not very often.
Which means we don't hear the ads.
And even online, it's what you said just spurred a thought in me, because online advertising has a lot of advantages over print and traditional media, where you can track them, you can get analytics, you can do those kind of things. But just as quickly, the millennials are finding ways to block those kind of things because they don't want to be tracked and they don't want to see ads. And so advertising to millennials, and I think more and more as ad blockers become more popular, is going to be difficult. You know, we're going to have to kind of change the way we do that.
And the key, so says every big marketing mogul. I've been researching online stuff a lot, marketing, and anybody in online marketing right now. I mean, they say you have to provide content. It's not just buy my stuff. You know, the biggest question is, yeah, but how do I do it without sounding like a salesman? Do it without sounding like a salesman. Give something of value to the people who will see your ads, and then, you know, just start the conversation, start the relationship right up front, because they say millennials don't like being told what to do, and buy my stuff is telling them what to do. Even if you say, would you please? So if it's very much what's in it for me. And if you can provide them with something, then.
Really, do you also find that millennials want to do, they don't necessarily want to buy into what we tell them, they want to do their own research?
Oh, absolutely.
Right. So if I have any power in the business with a new buyer or client, for example, because of 40 years in the business, that doesn't mean anything to a millennial. It doesn't matter what I tell them, I'm a salesperson, and they're still going to want to do their own research. So how do we combat that?
So this isn't necessarily an answer to your question though, but it's an add-on kind of to what you were saying and about how we've got ad blockers and stuff. So who here knows what Snapchat is?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, all right. So here's what Snapchat's decided to do, because they like to aggressively market to us in any way they can. Snapchat now, when you get done watching somebody's story, and for those of you who don't know what that is, you upload little blurbs about your life every day. When you get done watching a story now, an ad comes on afterwards that you've got to click out of. So, and that was not the case about a month ago. They've just started doing this, and they're becoming more and more and more frequent. And the same thing goes for Instagram now. There are sponsored ads that we now have to scroll through when, you know, here we are watching what all of our friends are doing, and then, bloop, you know, travel.com comes up or something like that. So they're getting more aggressive in the ways that they market to us, because a year ago we didn't have ads on Instagram, we didn't have ads on Snapchat, we didn't have ads on SoundCloud.
Now, just as an interesting thought on this discussion, millennials and advertising, we forget, or it doesn't occur to millennials to think that social media and the things that we contribute to is free. Snapchat is free, Instagram is free, Facebook is free. But of course, they're companies that are trying to make money. The only way they can really monetize these sites is through advertising, and the first thing we do is try to shut that advertising down, or we'll pay like $2 to make it free forever. We love convenience, and it's inconvenient to have them pop up, and so we'll pay money to make them go away. SoundCloud, there's now a premium you can buy that makes all the ads go away. Instagram, Snapchat, there's now a premium version.
I love the telephone.
Did you know your smartphone can make phone calls? Did you know?
Amazing.
Like you can do Zillow, you can do Facebook, and that way you can actually call people.
You mean like texting?
No, I don't. Like
voice text.
Yeah.
Voice text. Okay.
No, there's voice text, but now there's also phone calls.
You know, speaking of this in general, I have noticed something. It's a phenomenon that I've noticed probably in the last
8 months.
No, not even that
Okay.
long. I would say in the last, when I really thought about it, in the last maybe 2 months, my cell phone rings 1/10 of the time that it used to ring. 1/10 of the time. Am I out of business? I don't think so. We're still doing deals. But nobody makes phone calls anymore. I mean, I would get 60 calls a day. I log my calls. So if anybody tries to sue me, I say, yeah, but you told me this. Anyway, I was getting 60 calls a day. I'm lucky if I'm getting 20 a day now. And this is fairly recently. Has anybody else experienced
Are
it?
you getting texts?
But,
Yeah.
oh yeah, text. To the point where I have a little stylus just so I can answer more quickly than my big thumbs.
So it becomes kind of an etiquette when it comes to like email and text and phone call, and it kind of relates to what Billy was saying. How would you like me to interact with you?
Yeah.
And then you've got to be able to play on all of those levels. You know, for me, a text message conversation is not necessarily meant to be immediate. You know, I just throw it out there in the wild, and when I get an answer back is when you're free. A phone call to me feels immediate. Like now I really want an answer. And an email is just what it's always been, just out there and far more professional and trackable. But if you've got clients who prefer one form of communication to another, just be ready to roll with that.
I think so.
And as far as what you were asking Kathy about adding value, have information that they can't find online. And quicker than they can find it online. Those two
So
things.
just have, I think what you're saying is dip into your personal knowledge in this business to answer the question about what's that inspection going to cost, or when do we get the appraisal done?
Or even the
Yeah.
confidential remarks, or if you have the property disclosure, if you're showing. But I think it's bold to say that your 40 years in the business don't matter to a millennial because they hear 40 years in the business and they say, okay, she knows what she's doing.
Survived this long.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Well, one thing we do on our team that Kathy has taught us to do is to bring the buyer in and have a buyer's meeting and to front load all of this information, because when we make them an expert, we look like a better expert. So, and that is the time when we can teach them about Zillow and, you know, the sites to go to that are really going to be helpful in regard to information. And so, in getting all those documents signed that need to get signed in, and I'm working right now with buyers that I didn't do that with, and they're kind of all over the place. So, yeah, that's really important.
The other thing too is we've recently had a couple of leads that we've been able to show properties to, and they seem interested, qualified, genuine, and sincere. But when we ask them to come in for a meeting so we can provide them with more information, they kind of. So what's that about? Is that because?
It's an added step in convenience. You're just trying to get me in there to sign on the dotted line. They don't know what the dotted line is, but you just want me to sign on the dotted line, so now I'm stuck.
And they'd rather communicate on
I think it's you're breaching their comfort zone, which these days is impersonal communication. People prefer DocuSign towards sitting at a table like this. That's just how young people are. I'm even like that to an extent. I'm 38, you know, so somebody that's 25, they don't want face-to-face. They don't want phone calls.
So I'm really glad you brought that up. So let's pretend that you're ready to buy a home and you haven't bought one before. And by the way, who are you and welcome?
I'm Mike. I'm in the Eagle River office.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
new.
Well, welcome.
Thanks.
We're glad you're here. If you can come back on Tuesdays and hook up with us, we'd like to get you on the team.
Okay.
Yay! Okay, check in with Amanda and we'll get what we need from you. And yeah, we'd love to have you come in.
Okay.
Especially new licensees, we learn so much from for new people. Okay, back to my question. So have you owned a home? Seriously, do you
Yes.
own a home? Okay.
2.
How long have you owned a home? 2.
For the last 7 years.
Okay. Can you pretend for a minute that you're a first-time home buyer?
Yes.
Okay. So Billy showed you a home in Eagle River because you went on to Zillow and we got the lead and we called you immediately and we texted you and we emailed you everybody. We do it all. That lead gets all 3 hits until we find them. But we get you on the phone and you want us to show you the Eagle River house. One of our questions is going to be, thank you so much. Tell us, what is this? What is it about the house that you like? Well, it has the 4 bedrooms and it's I like that long driveway because I would like to be able to park my RV, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So our next question is, so if this is a home that's right for you, sir, would you be paying cash for that home or creating a new loan? Now, seriously, and pretend, would that offend you, that question?
Not at all.
Cool.
I would assume so because our society doesn't, we don't value savings. So to a younger person, it's automatically credit. It's automatically a loan. It's not even a question. So it would be pretty much an assumption. I don't know anybody under 30 that has ever bought a home or a car or anything using cash. It just doesn't happen.
Typically not. And even if they had the cash, they probably wouldn't use it for that. They would be saving.
It would be
It would be
the,
something else, yeah.
I do, I have I had a client who, how do you say? Agreed. She was an independent contractor. What the hell is it called? You're at a gym and they make you do stuff.
Personal
Personal
So she's a
trainer.
personal trainer.
They hurt you.
Like a point
You give them
Sure.
money and they make you feel bad about yourself. They make you lift heavy things. So she's a personal trainer. So she, having that job, was able to do all that. But of course, the financing was vastly different. And what you said, where this generation doesn't necessarily value savings, I'll come with you to an extent, but it's hard. It's hard to have savings these days, especially if you've got a buyer with student loans or.
Which you most likely will,
But
if they
Well,
go to
this-
college.
There's another side of that coin too, is that they saw their parents lose everything in 2008. So they aren't they're not buying the McMansion, they're not buying the extravagant, because they may have been in high school at that time, they may have been, to have that kind of hardship on a family, parents foreclosing or losing their college fund or not being able to buy a car when they turn 16 like they had anticipated, they are much more conservative that way.
I would say they're not in a rush.
Yeah.
We now have life expectancies that go up to from like 80 to 90. No one is like, oh man. Well, plenty of people are saying, oh man, I've got to get married, get a house, get a car. But there's far fewer in between. There's no sense of urgency when it comes to it. Going back to Kathy's example about the first-time home buyer and talking about those two leads in particular that just went up in smoke, what I would say a common thread between both of them was neither have been pre-qualified. Neither.
I was going to get back to this.
Gotcha.
Mhm.
Okay, so you said you'd be creating a new loan, right? Back to our pretend story. So my next question is, by the way, are you already committed to a realtor? Are you working with a realtor now?
How would I feel about that?
No, pretend you're the buyer.
Okay. I would say, I would tell the truth, but that would put me like a little bit on edge because that's commitment.
Not, if I ask you if you're already working with a realtor, why would that make you?
I would agree with him.
What did I tell you at that open house? Because when I first moved here,
Oh,
I met,
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
met Billy at an open house, and this was almost 3 years ago now. So I was going to open houses because I hadn't bought a house yet, and he asked me. I remember he asked me, and I think I was,
You gave me like 4 answers.
yeah.
Well, I used to be a realtor. Well, I'm actually at Alyeska. Well, I would probably use a friend of mine. And like, it makes people uncomfortable.
A little
On the
bit, yeah.
phone- So on the phone then, if I were to ask if you were working with a realtor at this time, I'm hearing you three say, that sounds like I'm asking you to make a commitment to me. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would
So
say
how
so.
do you
If I
find
tell
out?
you no, then you're going to pounce.
Okay, so what would your answer be, Billy?
I would tell the truth, but I would be
But you
on
get
edge.
bored and
Yeah.
Does that
It's
come
not
from a
because-
suspicious side?
Yeah.
That's what I was
Yeah.
gonna say, is it's,
Because
Yeah.
we
I
get
wouldn't be-
suspicious.
It wouldn't bother me either, but it might be an age difference. The thing is, as a realtor, if you all already have your own realtor, then I don't, and my answer is, well, yes, we're working with so-and-so, and oh, that's good. Well, she's a good realtor. We don't want to come between you and your realtor, so you might want to call your own realtor and stop wasting my time.
I understand the importance of the question, so I will always ask it. but I am prepared to make someone feel a little bit uncomfortable, and I've got a couple like just jokes lined up or something to kind of ease the tension afterward, because it's an awkward question.
And what I might suggest is actually just front load the question with, hey, just realtors are all professional people. We don't want to step on each other's toes. Just want to check real quick. Are you working with a realtor currently?
Yeah.
No?
Yeah, I
Cool.
can understand.
I just want to make sure I don't.
That the question should be, I'm so surprised to get those 3 answers that I'm going to front load it from now on. Not to make you uncomfortable, sir, but rather than come between you and a realtor, if you already have a realtor that you are committed to, are you working with anybody? So if the answer is, let's say that you get over your discomfort and you say no. You say no, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so then Billy shows you the property. I'm going to have Billy show you the house. The next thing Billy's going to do is, I'm sorry you didn't like this home, but would you be interested in coming into the office and sitting down with us and letting us custom design a property search for you so that you don't have to go find the houses yourself, they will find you. And we'll talk to you about the buying process, the appraisal process, the home inspection process. Would you be comfortable with that?
I mean, it wouldn't make me uncomfortable, but I would decline because all the resources that I have on hand, I can pretty
That's
much.
our problem.
Because you have Zillow.
I literally.
Not just
Yeah.
Zillow, I mean,
No,
Zillow,
I can
truly,
go on Zillow.
MLS, like people know about MLS now. and it's
The
not
MLS here is open. So the one thing from moving to Fairbanks to moving here, the Fairbanks MLS is a closed MLS, and you actually have to like subscribe through someone's website to actually obtain the listings in the MLS. So when I moved here and I saw that all of the listings are like everybody can look up what's listed, it kind of blew me away because I was expecting to have to log into someone's website, be on someone's drip campaign or whatever, just so I could see what listings were out there. But it was curious to me that it's actually open for everybody to see. And so it makes the buying process here way easier for technology people, but they may not want to come in and say, yeah, customize a search for me because I can just go online and do it myself.
Okay, so here's the burning question. For these millennials that go up in a puff of smoke when we ask them if they'd like to come in and meet with us, what do we do?
One thing, the added value. So customize a search, I can search myself, but what I stress is the homes will come to you. You don't have to search for the homes.
Yeah.
Okay.
The homes that you tell me what you're looking for, and those will get emailed directly to you. That's big. Walking through the buying process, because even though they're very educated, what helps me, because I have to feel like I'm valuable, right? So what helps me add value to myself is they can read all they want. They don't know the buying process. So let's go over the buying process.
So
the
is
whole
that
time.
done better at Starbucks instead of coming in formally to the
Maybe, yeah.
office?
Yeah, if they're a neutral
Sitting
area.
in front of a computer?
That might be good.
The other thing I will have to say, just as far as adding value, I have a lot of social media experience because I have a side business that I run solely through social media. The other thing about adding value is, in particular with buyers, you can say that I have a whole network of people, so I hear about listings sometimes before they actually hit Zillow or something like that. Give that additional added value to where it's not something they'll be able to click on a computer and be like, oh, well, I can see all the listings, because you might know about something before they even have the opportunity.
And yeah, depending on the market, that could be huge.
Right. Especially here, I mean, like 6 offers on one property is incredible. And so having that added value of knowing more people within this realm that is real estate is super helpful. And the other added value you can add is stuff outside of real estate. Because your social media does not need to be dominated by, I'm a realtor, this is what I do, this is what I do all the time. You can do recipes and people will follow you because you go and you make this new recipe every week, and then they'll see, oh, by the way, I'm a realtor. Or it's like, oh, this is my favorite restaurant in town. If you haven't had a chance to go to this restaurant, you need to check it out. So the more different channels of things that you can tie in, the more people are going to be interested in what it is that you do.
So the rule they say is like the 80-20. Like, so it should be 20% your business, 80% life, advice, call to action, stuff like that. And we kind of got past the social media, but a lot of these platforms provide us an opportunity to advertise without advertising, especially Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, is that you can selectively target certain audiences. Facebook has that ads program where you can get into the minutia. Instagram with the tags, that's how you target people and get them to see what you're putting out there. And while young people or people in general don't like advertisement, stuff like that, they're very arbitrary about who they follow or add. I mean, I've gotten people following me from all across the world just because of some workout I posted or something like that. So while that doesn't pay immediate dividends, you're broadening your audience. You're getting, you know, whatever you're pushing out to a huge audience, and you just have to master each individual platform and learn how to reach people.
Be everywhere is kind of what you're saying.
Exactly, yeah, because I got people popping up on my Instagram feed, like realtors from all across the US. You know, and most of it's not even real estate based. So how are they popping up on my Instagram? Through tags. Like they have tags that I am interested in.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, and it's people, I mean, I'm just scratching the surface of Instagram. That's the big thing now.
What kind of work did you do before?
I was in the Army, I just retired.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, thanks.
Okay, here's the burning question. If we ask them to come in to do what Billy suggested, let's help you have the properties turned to you, we're gonna walk you through the buying process, and they disappear up in smoke, do we really care?
Here's,
Yes.
So I've been thinking about this very thing, and the common thread of them not being pre-qualified makes me think they're not in a rush. They're just getting started. Now, if they see a home that they think looks interesting and you offer to go show it to them, I fully believe just about anyone would be like, yeah, sure, that'd be great. And then you go and show it. But I think for us going forward to continue to have the expectation of, okay, well, did you want to write an offer? Well, I just wanted to see the home. Like this, I'm doing my research. I'm taking a look what's out there. I really appreciate your time. Thank you very much for showing it to me. I'm out of here.
It reminds me, Carl, we had a hit on a duplex listing over on the east side, and you showed them the property, and then they went dark forever. And one day they showed up again. They liked you when you showed the property, and at the end of the day, we had a 3-sided transaction from that hit. He showed them the property. I think he stayed in touch. They were below the radar, and then one day they got serious and they called you back.
So now just don't touch the transaction card.
That's probably why I don't care, is because if they like me, that's first impression, that's done. Hopefully they like me. If they don't like me, I'm not a car salesman. I won't convince somebody to buy something with me just because I'm looking for a check. If they don't like me, it's not right and they need to move on. Mm-hmm. And I've gotten a referral because I had somebody move on because they didn't like me. They told somebody else, oh yeah, he's a trustworthy guy. Good,
wow,
easy day.
So, but why do you say it matters?
So I understand from the real estate perspective. I used to be the same way, to where if they go cold, they're not gonna, if they don't call me back, that's on them. But the other way to spin that is, if you haven't heard from them in a few weeks and they were somebody that you were actively communicating with, you could just send them a short message saying, hey, I just wanted to check in with you. I haven't heard from you in a little while, so maybe you found another realtor, or maybe you found a different property that works for you, but I wanted to check in with you. And say something like, if you're not currently actively looking in the market, that's okay, just let me know. Or kind of give them that opportunity to respond back to you. Because you never know.
Yeah,
I mean, their personal life could have blew up in their face, and you don't necessarily know what's going on.
So your point
is,
and that's don't assume their history.
Right.
Yeah, and I mean, I understand. You don't want to waste your time on somebody that's going to waste your time. But if you have a message like that that just says, maybe you're not interested in the market, that's fine, just let me know, or something like that, just to let them know that you are still thinking about them.
Yeah. Well, that's what drip campaigns are all about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Robin, let's not
Okay,
stage you here. Keep
so,
going.
so Billy and the number 2 was sell the neighborhood. And Billy had some comments about that.
So the first line is millennials tend to be much less interested in finding the perfect home and much more interested in finding the right community. I disagree with that. I think that they're absolutely looking for the perfect home. It has to fit their expectations. It has to fit what HGTV said was they should look for. I disagree with that wholeheartedly. They're also looking for the community, but they're looking for that perfect home in the community. And they walk into a place. My father-in-law just got after me. We're looking to put our home on the market, and I'm replacing the heater and water heater, or the boiler and the water heater. And he said, "No, this is a first-time home buyer's home. There's no buyer in the world that's going to care about the boiler."
Oh my gosh, that's not true at all.
That's huge.
I say, thank you, but I do this for a living. Well, things must have changed a lot when I sold my house in 2004. Yeah.
13 years have gone by.
They must have, but he's convinced that nobody's going to care about the boiler and the water heater.
That's the first thing they're gonna care about.
Absolutely, because millennials are informed, and their baby boomer parents told them, make sure to look out for the water heater and the boiler.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because the younger buyers that I encounter ask for neighborhoods that 10 years ago nobody would touch, or people, no, I'm not going there. And they're seeing it differently than previous generations of buyers have. You know, people say, well, I want to live in Spenard. And because you can walk to a lot of places, you can walk to coffee, you can walk to pizza, you can walk to bowling, you can walk to the bar, and so they want to live there. And more is being built up there. You can see where that's going in the next 10 years, what it's going to be like. So I think the neighborhood sells itself. When I encounter people, they usually know where they want to be. They usually don't. I don't usually have to, unless,
They're out of state.
Unless they're out of state, or they might be on the fence about living in certain parts of town, and you really just have to say, go check it out, see what you think.
Well, if they find a half-decent neighborhood and the house isn't necessarily what they want, the other flip side of HGTV is the DIY era. That you can remodel it yourself, or you can do this, that, and the other thing and make it look that much better for only $5,000.
Right.
So that's the other flip side that I would say to HGTV.
Yeah. But it's very hard to find a new home in Midtown.
Yeah.
And you're not going to find it, so you're going to have to remodel it. So in Anchorage, it's really tough because you have all these 40, 50-year-old homes, and then you have brand new, beautiful homes all on the outskirts. And not everybody wants to live out there.
Well, it's changed even just so much since I was a little girl. I remember going over to friends' houses, and they were in these prestigious neighborhoods, and now those neighborhoods are just like any other neighborhood.
Yeah.
The new is wearing off.
How much more do you have for us, Robin?
Well, I mean, there are 8 talking points on this.
Wow.
So,
Do we want to
we can
keep
continue
this
it.
going?
Yeah.
All right.
It's a great topic.
No class next week, but before we adjourn, I'd like us to quickly go around the room, starting with Cammie. And based on what you've heard today, just tell us what one thing you learned that you didn't know before.
Oh.
Based on what you've heard today.
Well, sorry, I mean, many things I've learned. I think if I can just say, for me, more observation, based on what you said, I'm 47. I am such a strong people person. And so to not be face-to-face with people, that is extremely difficult for me. And I work in medicine, and I am very close and leaning and with people. And so this new, younger generation that wants to do it all, that concerns me because that may not be it's not my strong suit. I am more of one-on-one. Yeah. So, yeah.
I don't know, I already know everything. No, it was nice to wait. I learned that I'm the problem. No, I mean, the discussion was really good, and this kind of helped me solidify the idea of, I think it's going to be important going forward to figure out just how serious people are when we get them on the phone. You know, it used to be that people would call a realtor when they're ready to go, but now the people we're meeting are just leads who click on the website, and we give them a call and go, oh, that's cool, great, thanks. And so, I'm going to keep that in the back of my head and let it stew.
Yes.
I thought Billy's comment at the very beginning about TVs phasing out was something that I never really thought of because, I mean, if you think about it, like, people just binge watch Netflix.
And
now.
here's the
Nobody
thing.
really watches.
Instagram, Facebook, Twitter,
They're all
they're
news, right?
ABC, NBC, CBS, like everybody has their channel. And they'll channel surf, but their primary is that's their network. That's what they go through.
But you were just talking about the HGTV.
Which you can
So-
binge watch on
Netflix,
on
6
YouTube.
seasons in a row,
TV, or like,
no
yeah.
commercials.
Yeah.
with no commercials. Yeah.
And then you come out of the room 6 days later.
Yeah.
Look at
And
my
you know
Bigfoot.
all about every house ever.
Mark, what did you learn we didn't know?
I thought this was interesting, these charts. It definitely explains, helps me understand some of the personalities that I've seen with the different age groups. This was good.
And I have a more elaborate
Oh, I'd
grid
like to
here.
see
I
that.
figured I didn't want to weigh you all down with paperwork.
I think the biggest difference for me is with you guys is my privacy. I'm more private. And then you were saying, is it Mike?
Yes.
That you did a workout, and so you posted a workout somewhere, so everybody knew you were working out, and I'm thinking, I don't want anybody to know I'm working out. That's the difference, I think, is that I am more private and don't want people knowing necessarily what I'm.
And
Well,
we
the
do.
definition
Yeah,
of privacy
we do.
has changed.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know, but they invented Snapchat, and literally after 24 hours,
Yeah.
whatever you've posted goes away.
Just
And
check
you
out what I
start
can do.
over again. And I mean,
Never got into Snapchat.
and that's what we want. We're like, oh, cool.
You know, my take on that is that no one's that important, and so why does anybody read anybody's?
Well, my
They're encouraging each other.
Generation gap.
we're an
Encouraging
age
each
of
other.
performers.
Yes.
So one of my favorite comedians, who I won't talk about, but one of my favorite comedians is a millennial, and he's the same age as me, and he did
I
this.
go binge watch both his shows right now because I know exactly who you're talking about.
He says that we're an age of performers, so we're longing to perform, and what social media is it's a stage for all of us to be in each other's faces all the time and not have to be on
That's
stage for the
interesting.
performance. Hey, you are like my new best friend.
Like,
It's not your fault that your team lost anymore. It's all Billy's fault.
I'm really digesting what you said.
I know.
And
Yeah.
where do you fall?
Where do I? Oh, I'm totally a millennial.
Oh,
I'm
sorry.
26 years old.
You're a millennial.
Are you on Snapchat?
No, I'm not, and I'm not on Instagram.
Okay, so
I'm not on
here's
LinkedIn.
what I learned.
I'm
I
only on
learned
Facebook.
yesterday, I
Your
showed
age.
a property to a 20-year-old who wanted to work only with me for some bizarre reason, didn't want a team member. We haven't figured that one out yet. He's only 20. So I thought he had enough sense to say, my gosh, she's been in business forever, so that's who I want to work with. But he's 20 and he wants to buy a home under $200,000. And the reason it's under $200,000 is it needs $40,000 of a foundation jack up, fix all the sheet. I mean, by the time you do the sheetrock and the bathrooms and the kitchens, it's $100,000. He had been communicating with me strictly with email and text. And finally yesterday, he said something like, what's the best way to get a hold of you? I said, if you just call me, we can work things out. And my preference is to talk to you. I haven't lost him. Maybe I would have preferred to lose him because what he wants is not gonna happen. But, so what have I learned from this? That maybe if I want to try to keep him as a buyer and educate him, this is not the right house for him. If he really wants to buy something for 200 and under in the neighborhood he'd like to be in, we're talking condo. But I have to be more sensitive to how to communicate with him if I want to keep him as a buyer. That's kind of what I learned. Amanda, what did you learn?
I learned that it sounds like millennials are not taking over necessarily, but that they're here now, so to speak, and that learning how to deal with them is going to be interesting for both millennials and, you know, baby boomers and everything coming together somewhere to meet in the
We
middle.
can't expect them to work the way we want to work. If we want to serve them, we have to.
And frankly, we like the people that can do it fast. You know, if I gotta sit there
Instant
and like,
gratification.
For sure.
you know, wait, or if I can go to Joey Jr. over here and you know, brrr, and it's gonna be done. You know, that's so it's.
Robin has done 90% of this research. I think Carl helped, but did you learn anything you didn't?
Well, I think and I maybe already knew this, is that we really have to be constantly learning and progressing and finding and being open-minded. We can't just go, oh, that Instagram thing will never fly. Or, you know, that, you know, we can't say that'll never fly, because ultimately it will. So, yeah.
And welcome.
Hi. I like what Kathy said about you have to be sensitive, because you do have to bring value, because I don't really associate myself with being a millennial. I associate myself being like a Gen X. But a lot of the new, like, first-time home buyers that I come in contact with, they are hesitant and they want information now. So the more information that you give them, the more value, then they can make that decision. And I feel like if you're more on their level, instead of being a salesperson, they're going to come back to you, because I know I will. If you give me something that I've never known before, something new, I'm going to remember your face and I'm going to remember you and I'm going to come back to you. It may not be tomorrow.
How would you feel about the buyer interview after we show you the first house?
Say that again.
How would you feel about, we show you the first house, I like you, you like me, and I say to you, would you be interested in coming into the office and sitting down so we
No.
can?
I agree with
Same
what
way.
they said.
Because you would feel that's a commitment.
Yeah, like I'm gonna sign on the dotted line. I just want the information
Okay.
and I'm gonna go home and process it
Okay.
and do my research
I
online.
think a meeting for coffee might be a good alternative.
Mm-hmm.
The meeting at Starbucks as like a neutral third party kind of place might be a good thing to try.
Well,
I'd be
and
curious to
throwing
see
it out
if it ends
there.
up working.
And then probably having to do it on a mobile device like
Yeah.
an iPad.
Or bring your
Which is-
laptop or something.
Yeah. But it-
Unless the interaction, I feel I am comfortable
Mhm.
and I've made kind of a relationship. Another thing I want to add on too is, for me, I go for what's attractive and appealing. And so like compared to your competitor, Keller Williams, I mean, all their business cards, everything's attractive and it's new. And so like I see Jack White cards, I'm like, I'm not sure if I don't want to go
That's
unless
an
I'm working with
interesting,
That is, yeah, so
It's
the
Aesthetically
Keller
pleasing.
Keller Williams cards are more custom designed.
Yeah,
Red.
to each person.
Isn't that a
one
fascinating
point that I came
observation?
across that isn't in this information is millennials expect to be marketed to. So having the cookies at your open house and your those waters with your label on them and things like that. And the good, and the good business card.
Extra added bit, something extra added.
Mhm.
Wow, that's awesome. I hope you're going to come back to that. And please give Amanda your name, we'll get you on the team.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Well, it's funny we're talking about this, because today on the way over here, I learned that Amazon has just bought up a bunch of food distribution companies, big companies, the end state being online grocery shopping. So this is a universal conversation.
Wow.
It is the way, and Costco's stock is plummeting, because everyone knows this is the way the world is going. So the young person, and it's gradually seeping into older people, we expect to be able to do every facet of our life through this, including real estate. So we need to be able to foster that, or we may become obsolete one day.
Wow. Kind of a scary thought a little bit, isn't it? You have a comment, Bill?
Well, I was just gonna go next.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Uh,
Billy, go ahead.
What I learned that it's kind of there's not as much of a they and we as we like to think, because as the generation gets older, the benefits and hazards and whatever that come with it are reaching everybody. So I think that I don't consider myself a millennial. It's a bad word. It really is.
But
And I was raised by with the majority Generation X in my house, and so I associate a lot of my values with Generation X because the millennials have no positive values, is the way everybody talks about them. Relax, pal.
okay, because I am a millennial.
I am too, but I totally relate to
So
you.
am I, but it's such a dirty word.
Why is it so
And-
dirty?
No values, we said.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I
Well,
am
and so
100%
that's-
agree with you.
That's sorry.
You're just want to take up your sword, man, all right? But tell me that that's not how everybody talks about it, including
That label.
millennials.
That
Yeah.
Well,
label.
then, I think the realtors who don't are going to be the ones who succeed. The realtors who are patient, who can inform and be educational, and not look at an entire generation and go, you guys have
Are you
to
saying lack of loyalty values, Billy? Is that what?
Lack of value, period. There's not
They
many.
don't value.
There's not many good things that are attributed to millennials, whether it's personal or accomplishments. All of these websites and amazing advancements in technology are attributed to being given to the millennials, when in fact, millennials are the ones who developed, designed, and put into application all of these benefits. But it's just kind of an example of the way that the world says they could have done that.
It's become negative.
Right.
Yeah.
The term millennial is a negative thing. And the more that we can stop, I say we, meaning us as an industry specifically, the more that we can stop saying those millennials, if you want to market to them, they, as if they're a different species, the better off we'll be, because when you're marketing to them, you're also marketing to their grandma who's on Facebook just to like their photos.
Yeah.
You're marketing to.
So true.
It is true, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So the blurred lines is kind of what cemented in my head today.
But I just want to bring up about loyalty, because that was a myth, that is a myth about the millennial, is that they're actually very brand loyal.
Right.
With the Apple phone and the type of computer, they're very brand loyal, and that does translate. They also go look at a company they're doing business with and look at what that company is doing, where they're doing business, where they're putting their money. And, and could be anything from recycling to, animal testing. And, and I do hear this from the young millennials. Oh, these companies, these products still do animal testing, don't use them. These, that kind of thing. Which, yeah, so they're very aware.
Negative feedback, and this has been the saying forever, that negative news travels way faster than positive news too, and it's even more so in our generation, because people will be like, I just went here and it was the worst service ever and blah, 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 and they'll put it on Facebook, and they've got 1,500 friends, so all 1,500, well, I'm assuming that they all actually actively follow this person, will all see that they just put this place on blast, and then they're going to be like, oh, I don't want to go there. So I love this topic. I'm just kidding.
But the Generation X
Great topic.
Gen X is known as the slacker generation.
And what's that age group?
That's my age group.
Gen X?
Gen X are known to be the
So
slacker.
what would be the age of those people?
That's from
That's
60
to 81.
65 to
Yeah.
79.
60, age 65 to
No,
79?
born
born
in
in-
1965 to
But it goes
79.
in 1984.
So,
Yes, yes.
could
So
one
baby boomers
say,
don't think much of Gen X, Gen X doesn't think much of millennials.
Yeah, it just
and
passes
goes
down.
on.
Yeah.
Well, I'm nervous for the next
So-
generation. I'm just gonna throw that one out there.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
You
could
I
say
need them to teach me how to use my virtual reality machine.
Oh
so
my
I'm
God. So what were you saying about the Gen X?
Well, they were known as the slackers because they, and I remember when they were using that term slacker, it was young people succeeding in business without appearing to do much work and having high expectations for their workplace.
Independent. These are
And-
really
Yeah, oh yeah,
good.
yeah, and they're definitely more individual centered. Whereas, one thing we learned is millennials like to work in teams.
and what you were saying earlier, the crash in whatever year it was, where
Yeah,
all the kids,
2008.
here we are now, we're ready to do all the adult things our parents do, and
Mhm.
so on and so forth, and maybe we're considered the most informed generation because our parents were less informed.
Mhm.
I
Wow.
don't know that we were less informed, just our knowledge came from different places than yours does.
Well,
I
they,
mean,
they bought
apple
into
seeds or-
predatory lending, they bought into, status quo.
What's a good deal? What's in it for me?
Yeah, well,
Which is what everybody does,
and,
but
and I'm supposed to
Especially
sell this
millennials.
house and trade up to a bigger house and then trade up to another bigger house.
don't get these.
It
And,
was
and now everybody's
structured.
wanting a tiny house, right? It's like,
Nobody wants, I don't think, I have yet to meet somebody who wants a tiny house.
Have you
No.
seen the show?
Robin, this is excellent research. Thank you so
Yes,
much.
thank
you,
Robin.
How about a round of applause? We will do this in 2 weeks.
Yay!